I think I'll start with talking about the campaign. It's been a very enlightening process, and we've met a lot of people through this process who have enlightened me into a lot of things, and the show of support has been amazing. Fortunately, you know, we've kind of stayed in bounds, and we've basically just looked at her record, and we tried to run a campaign that just discussed her voting record and what the impact of that voting record has had on the state of Kansas and the group that she consistently votes with. And I think if you're getting our mailers, which all of you should be, if you're getting all the information that we're sending out, that's what you're seeing. And we have not seen a lot from her in this campaign except for a few claims that we haven't been able to substantiate. And the first one being is $1.5 billion in budget cuts. Her husband sent an email to one of my friends who's a supporter, claiming that he made you know, a bunch of lies and disparaging remarks about his wife, Senator Huntington, and we just tended to respond with fact. And you know, we basically said, we don't know where in the budget you could have gotten $1.5 billion, but here's what we see, please show us. So the response was, well, it was really in the state's general fund. And we responded back, well, here's the state general fund numbers for the last 4 years. We still don't see $1.5 billion in cuts. Of course, that one wasn't returned because it's fictitious. It's made up. The more frustrated I get, it's because the legislatures that have voted to spend the state taxpayers' money from 2004 through 2008 grossly overgrew government and have put us in a position where we are today. And now they're trying to blame you guys for being upset for paying this tax because she had no alternative, and that's just not true. It's just a bold-faced lie, and you know, and at the end of the day, I don't know any other way to say it because the data doesn't support what's going on. They've tried to hide behind the Supreme Court of Kansas ruling in 2005, said, well, we had to increase school spending. Even when you adjust the numbers for their school increase, the school spending increase, they still grew government substantially above what's considered a normal amount, which would be population growth plus CPI. So at the end of the day, the recession didn't put us in this situation. Bad decisions on budgetary and fiscal responsibility issues put us in this position. I spent basically the last 8 weeks of my life preparing for questions, so and everybody just usually listen to me talk, so I hope you have some.
And we've seen tuition increase. Which is, in my opinion, not a good thing.
Right. Education funding is complicated way more than it needs to be because none of the school districts are required to have the same chart of accounts. Even though the U.S. Department of Education requires it, Parkinson vetoed it out of a bill this year. And basically what that would do, you can't look at one school district and another and compare their accounting and their line items to the other. So you have no idea what they're doing with their money and where they're putting it. And so at the end of the day, when we spend $12,200 a student, that's a 40% increase from 2002. Okay, I've even tightened it up since my last talk, is that increase, okay, has all gone in, and we've seen no benefit statewide from that money. And so we're basically chopping off the higher education to get to that. Now to your flat tax issue, okay? I'm a proponent of any tax that eliminates income tax and basically produces a fair tax to everybody. Okay, I don't care if you call it a consumption tax or whatever it is. Fair tax, to me, taxation should be fair and equal, and it shouldn't harm the producers in our society. And it should generate, it shouldn't dissuade or not promote business. It should actually encourage business and capital investment in our state. Okay, and so I don't know if that answers your question, but at the end of the day, what I'm going to tell you is that the state of Kansas, as a total tax, when you add up all the little taxes they do, we are way overtaxed for the benefits that we get. But as far as taxes go, I would like to eliminate the income tax altogether in Kansas. I think it's wrong to have it. I'd like to eliminate personal property tax too. I don't understand that tax. The one thing I will say is that there's a local mayor in your district. Some of you might be from that city. They're imposing some new fees on their residents. And the question was brought up with her, well, you know, those are really, you know, you're raising taxes. She goes, no, those are fees. People don't mind paying fees.
By her not being here, that tells me that she does not understand what her job is. Her job is to work for the people. And if she's not willing to be here to listen to what the people have to say, then obviously then she doesn't, she should not be.
They broke the law to get into this country. You can come to this country legally. All right? I've read all kinds of things saying, well, you know, you have to understand the Hispanic and the way this works, and that, you know, it's just not easy for them to go through normal channels to get in. Well, it's harder for us to get into Mexico than it is for them to get into us. So what does that tell you? Okay, that's where the problem lies. How can you make a law that says if you graduate from a Kansas high school and you're an illegal alien, you can get in-state tuition? I agree with you, by the way. Missouri, we do some sharing. What about the kid in Nebraska that wants to be an architecture major? Okay, he's from a poor family. Okay, he can figure out how to get some school aid, but he can't get enough to get into K-State, pay the out-of-state tuition. I mean, there it is. The guy's trying to live the American dream. The parents are trying to figure it out, and he's being penalized. Well, somebody whose parents broke the law get to benefit. And everything you said is right on. Okay, but I want to take it one step farther. Okay, what's going on in Arizona is a very interesting thing. Because the only reason why Arizona is doing what they did is because the federal government won't enforce their own laws. Okay, and they won't force their laws in Kansas. And if you get the Wall Street Journal, I encourage you to read it, today's editorial page. You go to the back page, the head of the Immigration Department and the head of the Border Security Patrol wrote a nice editorial today. They explained all the good things that they're doing. Okay? Nowhere in there did they explain that they were going to go after the illegal aliens. Okay, what they were going to go after are the ones who've come over and have gotten into criminal acts, you know, that are in prisons, things like that. And they're going to work to try to keep people out because they've got 1,200 people putting on the border. And they're going to work to keep it out. And that they've done a lot of good things. And then what they're going to do is they're going to penalize American businesses for hiring illegal aliens. So the fact of the matter is that they're going to put the whole burden on a U.S. citizen to determine whether that person's here or not. And here's the problem. If you as an employer identify him as an illegal immigrant, pick up the phone and call the Immigration and Naturalization Services and ask them, hey, I got somebody here. They won't do anything about it. Okay? They don't get any press for that. Okay? Matter of fact, they're probably going to get negative press for that. You know, especially if they've, you know, the guy has a wife and a kid and, you know, and things like that. And, you know, it's wrong. But how can, in this time, and then the other thing that you didn't say is, they like to hide behind the fact, too, that, well, they do the jobs that nobody else wants to do. It's not true. Okay? It's not true at all. Okay? At the end of the day, they can get away with doing the jobs in a manner that some you know, U.S. citizens can't do because they come, they do it for cash. Okay? They don't report it. Okay? And they may or may not do good work, but then off they go. And I got to tell you, I run a commercial real estate company. Okay? And, you know, you have to have janitorial services and things like that. We absolutely demand that we have proof of citizenship or green cards to work. Okay, I can tell you, it scares me to death because I just don't want illegal aliens working for my company. I've been in business a long time. I know you can't do anything on your own. You got to build support for your ideas. You've got to present them, and you've got to earn trust. And you know what? I got a large mountain to climb, but if we don't start climbing it, it's going to be too late. And that's why I'm running today. Trust me, at my age, I'd much rather just stay in business and focus on it. But I'm like you guys, I'm fed up. Okay, I have the energy, I have the willpower, and I have the support of my wife and my family and my friends and all of you. And that's what I need to go up there and to fight the fight every day, because that's what it's